Hello and welcome to the 8th Annual Mosaic International South Asian Film Festival, MISAFF. My name is Arshad Khan and I'm the festival director. We are delighted today to have the full team of the film White Elephant. It's the Canadian film directed by Andrew Chung. And now I'd like to meet Anya McKenzie, the CCAI Advisory Board member for MISAFF. Hello.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to MISAFF and welcome to the Q&A for White Elephant. We really, as programmers, love this film and are so delighted that you could join us today. Also with us is a very special guest who's helping to co-present the Q&A today and the film with MISAFF. And she's very dear to me, a mentor, and got me into this business to begin with. So it is my delight and pleasure to welcome Tanya Williams, founder and executive director of Real World Film Festival, Real World Institute, and a longtime activist, actor, producer, and writer, an award-winning NAACP winner, WIFT Crystal Award winner. I could go on, but I'm going to throw it to Tanya because she has some very important things to tell us about with regards to Real World and what we're up to over there.
That's what happens when you're trying to be kind to everyone else speaking. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this, especially since we had this amazing movie, White Elephant, at Real World also this year. And I can see by their advertising, they swept at the awards, and so congratulations so much to the cast and especially the crew, and to Andrew, who brought this such an important story that is resonating so well with other festivals and with the audience. We were thrilled to have it at Real World. Our programmer, Ella Cooper, was the one who actually first connected and got the film and shared it with myself and the rest of the programmers. And for sure, we knew it had to be in the festival. I mean, at Real World, this was our 20th anniversary. And of course, this was the planning of our 20th anniversary started pre-COVID. Yes, so things changed drastically after March, where we had to reimagine, as you did also at your festival, everything on a digital platform. And we just wanted to make sure that filmmakers had the same feel and attention that they do when they're at an on-site festival. And creating events like you guys have today at MISAFF and inviting Real World to be here as well adds to that value for the filmmakers who we'd normally be bumping into them in the theaters and in the lobbies, but now you've created these wonderful kind of mixers and gatherings that we can all talk. So Real World, we wish all your audience to go to also just the Real World website, see all the different initiatives we do. Our joy is to get more people in the Canadian industry who are from different racial, ethnic communities, and for us to work together, because we have different challenges, but we all want to get into this industry and make the stories in the most authentic stories and most authentic ways that we can. And in one way of doing that, we did launch this year accessrealworld.ca. It is an amazing hiring, recruiting platform for finding Canadians who are Indigenous, who are Black, who are Asian, South Asian, from the Latino communities, Middle Eastern, North African. So we do want people to go on and sign up. And we do want to encourage all of you to hire them. And I'm looking forward to all this young talent that I'm seeing here. And I include you both, Arshad and Anya, in my young talent grouping. I want to see more of your stories, and hopefully festivals like yours and festivals like Real World can be a little bit of a tool that uses to push that all forward. So thank you again. And I'm looking forward to hearing more things that the wonderful cast and crew and Andrew have to say here.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Tanya. I think now we would love to have Andrew Chung, the director, introduce some of the cast that's here with us today. So over to
first
Andrew.
We have to introduce Andrew.
Oh, well, please introduce Andrew.
Welcome to MISAFF, Andrew Chung. Congratulations on making a beautiful film.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm really excited to have the film at your festival. So yeah.
And your film is already traveling and it's doing so well. And it got a beautiful, warm reception at Real World and won almost every award there was to win. And then it went to the Asian festival in Vancouver,
Vancouver.
right, in BC.
Yes.
And now we're so lucky to have you. So please tell us, introduce us to your cast, first of all, so we can all get in on the conversation.
And this is Amanda Catapog. She plays Jamie in White Elephant.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Welcome to the Q&A for White Elephant.
Thank you.
Could you please just tell us a little bit about the role you played and what it was like working on the film with Andrew as your director?
Jamie is a bully. Everyone is scared of her, but I feel like deep down she's extremely insecure, and that's why she bullies, especially Pooja. When she sees that Pooja is extremely vulnerable, she's like, oh, fresh meat. I can manipulate her. She's so vulnerable, but at the same time, I feel like she actually cares for Pooja. As you can see in the fight scene, like, why did she decide to fight? We don't really know, but she obviously cares for the girls. And working with Andrew was a dream. He's amazing. I'm not just saying that because he's here. Like, he's actually an amazing director, and I love everyone in the cast. Yeah.
That's very cool. And so was this your first feature film?
Yes.
Wow. Well, congratulations. I think you brought out a particular character that we don't get often a chance to see in cinema, that brings together South Asians, multicultural characters, all living in, the Markham Scarborough backdrop. And one of those unique characters that shows, tension between two women, but also tension within women that are supposed to be brown together. And so I thought that was really unique. I don't know if you want to comment further, either Andrew or Amanda.
Andrew, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the purposes, I guess, because in our Scarborough Markham is very a multi-ethnic community. So I think I was trying to be as accurate as possible and authentic as possible to what the communities are actually like. And I think a lot of other communities may view us as like one mass group based on skin color, and whether it's actually very multi-ethnic, and there are tensions that happen between different ethnic groups, especially in high school, because kids will pick anything to bully each other about. So sometimes your ethnic origin is the source of bullying in a lot of ways, right?
Absolutely. It's such an important theme in the GTA, the theme of bullying, growing up, coming of age, and also your identity. And I think, your main character, Pooja, Andrew, sort of embodies so many journeys in a young person. And so...
Amanda, may I just jump in? Your character, without saying things, says so much.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you are what really struck me in the way in the character you portray is all that is never portrayed on television or in cinema. Like Anya was pointing out, the colorism that exists within ethnicities, and also the otherization of if you're not really from India, right? Or if you're not really from Pakistan, or if you're not really from wherever, and you're from the Caribbean, for example, you don't have that big body of cinema to represent you and your voice and your experience. So it's very important that your character is a strong woman who comes to the rescue, and I think that blew me away. And I think as a programmer, quite frankly, sealed the deal for us that this is a very important film and these are unique voices that needed representation. So thank you for portraying that character so beautifully.
Oh,
bravo.
You. Oh my God, you're all gonna make me cry. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very important what Arshada is saying. I'm from Trinidadian, Indo-Caribbean background, and I have long wanted to see some of those conflicts portrayed on screen, and you did such an amazing job. So congratulations for bringing that to light, both of you, Andrew, Amanda, the rest of the cast.
Thank you.
And just scenes with you are always action-filled and super fun. And it's all tension that makes that,
Yeah.
So all the power to you. What's next for you, Amanda?
I don't know yet. I'm focusing on school right now, and I'm focusing on my job for now, and I can't really do anything because of COVID. So just in school.
Wow. Well, I mean, is school online, and are you going to pursue more acting?
Probably, yeah.
Well, we want you to. We have our eye on star talent at MISAFF, and each year we have a MISAFF star, and we hope that you get there, and don't give up on that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, take it in.
Has your family seen the film?
Yes.
What do they
What
think?
did they say?
They love it.
Excellent.
My grandmother especially really likes it, and it means the world to me because she's my biggest critic. So when she's just like, oh my God, like this is an amazing movie and my granddaughter's a star, I was like, oh my God, I love you so much. Like her opinion means everything to me. So just her happy makes me so happy.
That's beautiful. Well, I'm glad you have your family support. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Today we have Gurleen Singh, who plays Manpreet in the film. We have Domika Haparachi. Sorry, I don't know if I butchered your last name. He plays Amit in the film. And we have Kumar Kakazi. He plays Pooja's dad in the film. And we have Yahya Amin, who plays Rohit.
Welcome, everyone. So, I mean, do we want to jump in with some questions? I think I, first of all, want to understand, Andrew, where did you get the idea for White Elephant? And what a great title, by the way. And could you tell us just a little bit about that motivation? That would be great.
Sure. So the film started with being a part of this art exhibition that was happening in Markham, actually. So it was for the Varley Art Gallery, and it was a special exhibition that all the artists were kind of tasked to tackle cultures that were not necessarily their own. And being that, appropriation is a big conversation nowadays, right? So the challenge for a lot of artists was to, whether we can portray that authentically, and can artists, effectively do that. So I chose the South Asian community because I personally have a strong kinship with the community. My parents were actually born in India. They were born in Calcutta. A big part of my upbringing, I was surrounded by Indian culture, with the foods, even their accent. They have Indian accents, interestingly enough. And my dad speaks a little bit of Hindi, so he kind of busts it out whenever he goes to Indian grocers and things like that. But yeah, so and being from Scarborough and Markham, I was surrounded a lot by the South Asian community as well. So I always felt a strong kinship with them because they always accepted me with open arms, which was very nice. Knowing that my parents were from India, they would always say, "Oh, he's Indian," to all my friends because I'd spent so much time with them. But yeah, so that was the main reason why I chose the community, because I felt like I could portray it authentically, right? And we wanted to choose, and a lot of the artists wanted to choose a culture that was at least somewhat culturally adjacent, so that we understand it and are authentic to it and portray it with sincerity. So that's how the film came about in terms of the community that I chose to write about.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I did not know that you grew up in India. That's amazing. Quite a blend of backgrounds there, influences. Yeah.
I mean, I was born in Canada, but my parents were born in India. But yeah, it was very much a part of my upbringing. Just I was surrounded by it. In terms of the high school drama itself, a lot of the experiences were based on my own experiences growing up in Scarborough and in Markham. So the communities that I grew up around were primarily Black and brown. So I was very much used to being around those communities. So I pulled from a lot of experiences from that, that whole thing with Jamie and Pooja. I've seen those kinds of interactions firsthand between the different cultures in the quote-unquote brown community, right?
Right.
So I just kind of lifted some of those experiences and put them in the film.
Well, it's so timely and so relevant to the conversations that are happening now in the zeitgeist, in terms of, use the word authenticity, in terms of anti-Black racism. And I know for all of us that are people of color, you know, having a film like that from a young person's perspective is so important. And so I wonder if we could hear from some of the cast about the roles that they played. And I know, for example, Gurleen, you played Manpreet, and tell us a little bit about how you came into that role and how you've come into acting as well.
Well, when I first got the role of Manpreet, this was my very first audition and my very first feature film ever. So when I first got it, I automatically just like was gone. Like I jumped up in the air and I was so excited because I've never, and while I was reading my character, I've never met a character like mine, and Manpreet is me in a way. So while I was reading her character, I was like, whoa, this is literally me. Like this is real life. I was like, oh my God. And it was kind of very easy to like jump into her character. It wasn't too difficult because I already kind of like knew who Manpreet was. Like Manpreet was a part of me as well. And like growing up, like I didn't see a lot of like Indian characters. I would always see like a lot of like white shows, you know what I mean? And I grew up.
We do know what you mean.
I grew up in Canada as well, but my parents are from India, and so I was actually born in Toronto. So like Andrew said, like I've been around a lot of like the Black and brown community, and so it was just kind of easy to connect. And Manpreet is also like a very like I wouldn't say careless, but she's a very like to herself person. And when she wants to, she will fight for you and she will fight for her friends. But she also she goes through her own identity crisis. And I was talking with Andrew, and I just wanted to make Manpreet my own character. And I was like, I think Manpreet is bisexual, and she's kind of just like figuring out her sexuality, and she's just figuring out her own identity. And like she used to get bullied as well. And in real life, like in my life, personal experience, I used to get bullied a lot for like the color of my skin or like the way I looked, and it takes a toll on you as a person. So when I read Manpreet and when I got this role, I was so excited to just portray that as best as I could and just hopefully reach out to other boys and girls out there who do go through that in life.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's going to resonate with young people. There is an ongoing conversation about bullying in the GTA and in other communities in Canada. It's pretty unfortunate when this happens, but to have someone reflect that and have somewhere to go to talk about that. Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing your personal story there and coming into the film with already that experience. So I just wanted, Andrew, to throw it because your film talks about young people, but then there's one character who represents the older generation, which is Pooja's dad. And so Pooja grew up, for some of you who haven't delved into the film, with this family from Bangladesh background with Bollywood cinema in her, and through her dad, she has these conversations. So I wonder if, Kumar, you can talk to us a little bit about what it was like playing that role and bringing in some of the older generation into the story. Andrew and Kumar, one of you.
Well, it was a very interesting role that I had, and when I went for the audition, and Andrew gave me a briefing about what kind of a personality that I'm supposed to be having, I said that comes naturally to me. I'm a little on the stricter side. It's like more hard outside, but inwardly a soft-hearted person. But I am a thorough disciplinarian, sort of, even in my real life, and very, very, you can say, very clear in terms of black and white, gray area, if it's this, in terms of value system, for example, the Oriental, the Indian and the South Asian value system is totally different in terms of cultures, in terms of other value system, also morals and all, which are quite in conflict with, or which used to be more in conflict at the time. The setting of the film is sometime in the mid 90s. I'm supposed to be an immigrant of the 70s era when we were, unlike today, we were not a visible minority. We were actually an invisible minority in Canada in those days. And when I was telling this, after Andrew gave me the role, of course, I was very thrilled and excited. And when I was telling all my friends and family, I said, there is a film about the Indian immigrant family and the struggles and the conflicts, the inner conflicts that the family goes through. It's a film about Indian family written by a Chinese guy. And everybody was so shocked. I said, no, but he's got very deep-rooted connection with India. His parents were from India, and and he's lived and schooled with all these mainly Indians and people of color, having lived in Scarborough. So he's a perfect. But it came as a big surprise, and to some people even as a shock. How can a Chinese person? What does he know about India? I said, but this is it. And for me, as a person, I had to play the role of a first generation immigrant, of a daughter who's born Canadian, who thinks Canadian, but who's not Canadian in that sense. And that was what I had to, try to, she wants to be Canadian, I had to pull her down. Oh, don't forget your Indian roots.
Yes, it's a struggle that many young people from the South Asian community face. Yes.
And when I'm supposed to have immigrated to Canada in the 70s, it was a very, very tough struggle even to make both ends meet, find a job, to earn a livelihood, to make some savings and start a family and all. And then this young kid who's born in Canada thinks Canadian. I have to say, cool it, take it easy. But it came very naturally, and Andrew, of course, is, as I told him also, he brings out the best in every character that is portrayed in the film, in his script. And as a director, he was very easygoing. He knew, he was a very clear thinking person, and that made it easy for even us as to how to emote, how to act, what kind of an expression to wear. So it was really a fun experience. And of course, for me, this was the first feature film. I've done one ad film, a TV commercial. But before that, I have a lot of stage experience. I've done 7 plays in Canada. In fact, theater I've done quite a lot.
Excellent.
And now I'm retired, so I'm available in case you want it.
Yes, well, there's always going to be roles for older generations in South Asian cinema, I find. It's an important part of the family life to represent. And we are, one of our famous filmmakers that's in the lineup for MISAFF this year, I think she said, we may have left India, but we cannot take the Indian out of us. And I think that's part of what's happening here in your role, wanting to at least keep tradition alive and working out a relationship with your daughter, which is evolving in the film, which the character Pooja is played by Zarin Bushra. And I think, Andrew, if you could just talk just a little bit about Pooja, because I know she wasn't able to come on the Q&A today, but could you tell us a little bit about that character and her journey and the title White Elephant, which I think is very poignant?
Yeah, for sure. Pooja's character. So, her character is very, what should I say? She's very loud, expressionistic, and she's just trying to find herself throughout the whole film. I think, like any teenager, I think that's the universal thing that everybody can relate to, which is just trying to figure out what you like, what you don't like, that sort of thing. Trying on different, costumes. The costumes in the film for her were like a significant part of the film because she's trying on all these different outfits, and some of them are really loud, some of them are more subdued, and that was kind of reflecting her personality as she was trying to formulate her own identity. And a big part of her character arc in finding herself and finding her self-worth and loving herself had to do with her cultural identity. I thought what was interesting is outside of the normal coming of age teenage story, adding in that extra layer of cultural identity, which is something I think everybody, every person of color growing up in a Western society, like that's that extra layer of identity that we're trying to contend with, on top of just being an adult and becoming an adult as we grow up.
And why white elephant? I mean, I'm just going to ask you, like, just for the audience watching, why white elephant? What is it that Pooja is trying to assimilate into here?
Sure. I mean, I don't like going into too much detail with what the title means, because I want people to interpret what they do. But I mean, we do have that caption at the beginning of the film defining what the phrase "white elephant" means. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it represents a lot of things in terms of the burden that she carries, and white elephant is kind of that symbol of that burden, right? If I'm crude about it, it's like that white supremacist thinking that we all carry by growing up in a Western society, right? Not even just Western. I mean that type of thinking happens all around the world, right? But yeah, so that's what the title represents, and I just think like the word elephant and the animal, the elephant, like. Can mean so many different things for that as well. Like, you know, the elephant in the room that we don't talk about. That, you know, at the same time, there was a lot of Hindu imagery of the elephant god, of the Ganesha elephant god. So, the term white elephant can be kind of interpreted in a negative and positive way, because the god itself is about, you know, getting past a lot of obstacles. But on the other side, it's also a burden, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. I think that you are making, in the 2019, 2020, you're making a film that is a period film about the 90s. And I don't think people realize how tough that is. I did come to Canada as an immigrant in the 90s, so I could really relate to a lot of what was in that film. And I thought that, you know, you've captured that moment very well, because we definitely didn't have any representation in the media. I kind of make fun of some of the things we were watching, because I would say that, you know, that Sex in the City was like Sex in the White City, you know, and like Friends were all white friends, you know. And so it was very difficult. Like someone in my class asked me, do they have, you know, street lights in Pakistan? Like, you know, and they asked such basic questions like you. I was shocked that people had no idea who we were. And so your film is about a time when really we are lost. It's a time of lost identities. And I'd really like, but I felt like that was very well represented by a lot of your male protagonists. So I would love to hear from Dumika and Yaya about, you know, how were they able to capture the crises of the 90s so well in their characters?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say to Arshad and to you, Dumika, knowing that you guys you weren't really that age in the 90s, so you had to go back in time, you know?
Yeah. So that was actually an interesting fact, that we had to go back in time. So I had to do a lot of research, like personally for me. Like I told Andrew before, I made a playlist for Amit with like entirely 90s music and what he was interested in at that time, which was, you know, the all the gang affiliated music, like Tupac and Biggie, things like that. So I think, you know, playing a role in that era is really cool, because I didn't grow up in there, so I kind of had to like pull things that I had from my own life. So I had to pull, you know, in grade 8, I was a little bit like Amit, so I kind of like I told Andrew before, it was kind of like an extension of myself back then. I had to put that, you know, base that back in the 90s. So that was a little bit of a hard thing to do, but I think we persevered and we did it. Yeah. I don't know.
You can't even imagine. There was no Facebook. There was no.
Yeah.
There was no, like, you know, Instagram. There was no social media. There was no Google. There was nothing. To find out what homosexual means, I had to go to the library.
Yeah. So a very, very authentic point of view there, Dilmilka. Thanks for sharing, and you did a great job. It was
Thank you.
believable.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I wonder if Tanya wants to come in and comment a little bit about some of the themes that happened that in Andrew's film around colorism and just kind of what's been going on in the zeitgeist today.
You know, I think what's wonderful about this film and is it continues this conversation that all of us have been, many of us who are Black or Indigenous or people of color, we've actually been having them our whole lives. Mm-hmm. But sometimes we're not aware that other communities, other ethnicities are sort of seeing and dealing with the same issues. I mean, we're so focused on race right now, which is great, but still the issues of culture, which is very different. I still think we're trying to understand those differences. And then there's the issues of shadeism and what that plays like, not even just outwardly, but within one's own families. So I think this is just, it adds to that conversation that we need to keep going. And what I love is, you know, I'm an older generation than anyone is here, but a young generation is still dealing with it. And generations that came before me are still dealing with it. And I really feel, especially this year, because of George Floyd and what happened there, that people are looking for quick fixes, especially within the white community. And I hope eventually their fear subsides and their fear of being thought of as racist if they don't do something like right away. I hope they just relax into it and realize we're not going to fix all of this in the next couple of weeks. You know, this is a really long-term change, and I'm sure Andrew's grandchildren will be having these conversations in the years to come. But I think any kind of conversation, remember, it wasn't that long ago, 20 years ago, people didn't even want to, you know, have conversations about race at all. I think people are still uncomfortable saying the word Black when they're referring to someone. I mean, I can hear their hesitation in their sentence. They're like, I met this, and I think they're quickly checking, you know, will that upset Tanya? Should I say a different word? Well, all these things are going on, and it's a very stressful time.
Yes.
But patience and I think love and understanding is really needed right now. And because I do come from that generation that didn't live our lives on social media, I think we have to be a little bit more forgiving also when people get it wrong. I'm just happy that people are talking. I mean, I'm just so excited about that I don't even want to shut anyone down if they say something or present something in not the exact way we think they should say or present it.
Very well said, Tanya. Very well said. Yeah.
Well said, Tanya. And it's, you know, it really resonates with me personally.
Yes. I think, Arshad, we have one more cast member that we need to get to. So we wanted to introduce Yaya and talk a little bit about the role he played.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
I think Arshad had a specific question, though.
No, I wanted to, you know, look at you. You look like a star already.
No,
I'm like, where can I buy this stuff? How can these people be so cool?
He wants your wardrobe.
Tell us about how you got involved, you know, about how you feel about the film, and yeah.
Sure. Well, I got this role. Well, this is my first feature. Like, it was an honor. It was amazing, and I've been trying to act for the last 3-4 years now. I started on Vine, and next thing you know, Vine died, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I started acting, and I auditioned for the role of Amit, but I didn't get it. So, but Andrew asked, "Hey, you'd be an amazing character for Rohit. Audition for him." I'm like, sure. And Rohit, like, after reading the script, I kind of like, yo, this guy's amazing. This Rohit dude's sick, because I grew up very mad at one point, like throughout high school, elementary school, middle school. It was horrible. And this dude, he plays an older character than Gurleen and Pooja and Amit. So I'm like, yo, this is amazing. Let me be their older bro or something. So I prepared this role by I had friends who grew up in the 90s, and I'm like, hey, dude, tell me about your time. Like, I'm a 2000 kid. I don't know what you guys have been doing. I listened to their music. I talked to them. I went on car rides with them, and I just became this '90s kid or this older kid. And next thing you know, I'm playing this character, and I think it's amazing in this. I don't know about you guys, but I think I did amazing in it. And yeah, I went to another, and
we like the self-love.
Amazing. Of course.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, one thing to another, we're winning awards like nothing.
That's right. And I mean, I think it sounds like, Andrew, that you pulled together like this cast where it's been a first for a lot of new talent here. So, congratulations on that. What a breakout film for you. And
can we give a hand of applause?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing that you took all these new cast members. Yeah. Yep. And Tanya's giving a hands up. Yeah. So anything else that you would like to share with us about the journey that the film's been on so far and what you think might be coming up for White Elephant as you go on as a writer-director?
I guess, I just hope the film continues to do well, and we're still getting the film out there with festivals, and we're in the middle of looking for distribution right now. So hopefully a Canadian company steps up and wants to distribute the film. And I'm just currently writing my next feature, and I finished a TV pilot. So I'm just trying to keep busy.
Very good. I mean, that's what we have to do during this time where we're, locked up, but, seeing all of your bright, shiny faces makes my Sunday afternoon in Toronto very warm. And
I was just going to say, Andrew's next film has to be a Black family now.
Oh, yeah.
I actually, I love to write about the Black community, but I feel like I don't know how authentically I can do it, right? South Asian was easy for me because I know the community so well. But I have fears that they'll hate me. They'll feel like,
no,
what right do I have?
I think it'd be really fun if every director of their ethnicity was forced to completely do a film about a different ethnicity at all.
My question is,
would we have been doing for years?
True.
Yeah, but would we have these hesitations if we were telling a story with white actors and white people? We don't have that hesitation.
No.
But something in our zeitgeist, in our culture right now, is making us afraid to even talk about different people of color or tell stories of different people of color, because the fear is so real of being called out or of being, targeted for appropriation, So I think it's a strange time, but everyone should be able to tell any story. That's the job of artists, because the world still needs a lot of healing. The world still has so many stories, and so many stories are underrepresented, So we have to question why we are comfortable telling a story with all white folks, but not comfortable telling a story with an ethnicity which is not ours.
Yeah, I mean, there is the conversation. Good job. Arsha's raising a very, very poignant point for us at MISAFF, because we represent the full gamut of the South Asian diaspora. Andrew, Canadian talent. We have films this year from Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Canadian Sri Lankans, and the list goes on. And we have found so many people struggle to bring that representation to screen in the first place, that they need the help of their brothers and sisters to help them understand the nuances and to collaborate with them. And so, it's a very different conversation. And I think, you might meet a great Black artist like Tanya Williams, who says to you, "Hey, I'll star in your film if you do this," or you might be the person that can tell a story with another writer. You never know. I think I would like to hope that we can remain open to those possibilities and to those conversations, and taking up what Tanya was saying, which is, it's great that everyone is talking about this stuff. And that we could.
Sorry, Annie.
Go ahead.
I remember the impact of seeing Mississippi Masala.
Yeah.
And so a lot of young people might not know about that movie, but that's a great movie to go back and see, with Denzel Washington being a Black man, in love with a South Asian
Yes.
women and just that culture thing. I'd never seen, it's always used to be, you know, a black and white or South Asian and white or somebody in white, but to see that too, that was really impactful for me as a young person seeing that.
Likewise, yes. It was very taboo, you know, in Indo-Caribbean culture to have relationships with a black romantic partner, for example. And we had a film called Moko Jambi that spoke to this. And, you know, Mississippi Masala is a great example of that kind of collaboration and breaking those barriers down.
It's a Meera Nair film. It's Sarita Chaudhary.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, I just think this is a great topic to bring up because, like, I always felt pretty strongly about. I think what's creating a lot of the reservations with a lot of people about tackling different communities. I think obviously we have. I think it's a lot to do with the power structures, right? Like having white communities portray the marginalized communities is where a lot of the strife is coming from. But I think a marginalized community, you know, portraying another marginalized community, I think there needs to be a little bit more openness there, where, you know, we don't feel like, oh, that you're appropriating here, because I think as, you know, different marginalized communities, we understand the importance of authenticity, the importance of collaboration, and I did want to bring that up with the cast, right? Like, they give me a lot of credit, but I give them so much credit. Like, I honestly gave them so much power in terms of building their characters, because they know this community better than me, right? So I always everything was to their approval, right? Like, does this make sense? Would this happen? You know, like, I was constantly asking these questions with them, right? Like, because I don't have authority there, so I was trying to be as sensitive as I could to the community to portray it authentically, because there is a responsibility there. So, but yeah, that's a great topic to bring up, actually.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I think it was so cool that we were all born in different areas, and we're still in different areas in Canada. Like, I'm in Mississauga, Gurleen's in Sarvon, and Yaya's in Toronto, Pooja's in Brampton. So it's kind of like, it's so cool to see you know, where we grew up in Canada and how we reflect that in the film. Yeah.
Well, we want to say a big bravo. Thank you so much, you guys, for bringing this film. Thank you, Real World, for finding this film and putting it up there. And we hope the MISAFF audiences, which cover, you know, the gamut of South Asians, but also cinephiles and cinema lovers, will delve into White Elephant and enjoy it as much as we did. So on behalf of Arshad and myself, thank you so much. Thank you for joining the Q&A. Please watch movies. Please watch independent cinema. Please watch MISAFF.
The festival is on from the 4th to the 12th of December. Please tell your friends and family. And also, and thank you on behalf of all the Mosaic Festival, CCAI, and all our board members, and you know, all of us. Welcome to the Mosaic family. Thank you. Have a wonderful week.